Welcome to our SAP Material Management Training Program. Today, we're diving into our first topic, an overview of the procurement processes. In this session, we'll cover key elements such as the procurement cycle, stock transfer orders, subcontracting, vendor consignment, and organizational levels in purchasing. We'll begin with theoretical concepts before transitioning into practical SAP navigation, where we'll create purchase orders, goods receipts, and conduct invoice verifications. Let's get started. To kick things off, let's discuss the procurement cycle, often referred to as procure to pay. This cycle consists of 8 fundamental steps, which I'll outline briefly. Determination of requirements. The process starts with identifying what materials or goods are needed. This can come from manual requests or be generated automatically by SAP, depending on inventory levels. Source of supply determination. As a purchasing officer, your next step is to identify potential vendors. You'll send out requests for quotation, RFQs, to gather prices and conditions. Vendor selection. After reviewing the quotations, you'll select a vendor based on the best price and delivery terms. This step is crucial for ensuring cost effectiveness. Purchase order processing. Once the vendor is selected, you create a purchase order. This can be done manually or automatically via the SAP system. Purchase order monitoring. You need to monitor the status of your purchase orders. Keeping track of delivery dates is essential to ensure that materials arrive on time. Goods receipt. When the goods arrive, you perform a goods receipt in SAP, which updates inventory levels. Invoice verification. After receiving the goods, you create an invoice in the system for payment processing. Payment processing. Finally, payments are processed according to the invoice, completing the procurement cycle. Next, let's delve into stock transfer orders, STOs. An STO facilitates the movement of goods between different plants within the same organization. For example, if our company has a plant in Melbourne and another in Sydney, an STO would allow Melbourne to request goods from Sydney. This process is similar to a purchase order, but specifically for internal transfers. Moving on to subcontracting. This process involves sending components to a third-party vendor for assembly. For instance, if our company manufactures laptops, we might produce certain components ourselves, but outsource the assembly. We send all necessary parts to the subcontractor, who then returns the completed product to us. Now let's discuss vendor consignment. In this scenario, the vendor keeps their stock on our premises. For example, if our vendor supplies raw materials, they will store their inventory at our site. When we need to use these materials, we create a purchase order to consume them. Until we order, the vendor retains ownership of the stock. Now, let's touch on the organizational levels within SAP Material Management, which are critical for managing procurement processes effectively. Client, the highest organizational unit representing a corporate group. Company code. This represents an independent accounting entity required by law to maintain financial statements. Plant, the location where inventory is stored and production occurs. Storage location. This divides inventory within a plant into distinct areas. Purchasing organization, a unit that manages purchasing activities and can be centralized or decentralized. Purchasing group, a group or individual responsible for procuring specific materials. Understanding these levels is vital for configuring SAP to align with your company's procurement strategy. Well done on completing this session. You've laid a strong foundation in procurement with SAP Material Management. We're excited to see you in the next course as we continue building on these skills. Your journey is just getting started.